You're listening to the ACT podcast. You better like my daddy's show, you creeps.
All right, welcome back to the ACT podcast. I am your host, Anthony Christian Tafoya. So, the last time we talked, not much was happening, it was just kind of normal, whatever. And now suddenly we're in a war. And, it kind of just goes to show you how quickly things can change. Naturally, I'm a little worried about only me, obviously. Who wouldn't be, right? I'm only worried about myself in this situation and how it's going to affect me. And I think that's a pretty healthy perspective to have. And see, and the reason I'm worried is even the reason I'm worried is even just more serious than even that, right? It's very, very serious. The reason I'm worried. It's not because I'm like draft age or anything like that, but I've recently been trying to stimulate my hair follicles and such with this new treatment that I'm doing because all my beautiful, luscious locks have decided to begrudge me and leave. And honestly, if that wasn't gonna work, I was gonna start a Kickstarter to send my ass to Turkey. I mean, come on, guys. Let's be real. I can't go into a war-torn Middle East all because I need a hair transplant. That's what kind of maniac would that make me, right? What's wrong with me if I do that? I mean, I get that I'm vain and that lots of people are vain and whatnot like that. But I would like to think that my vanity hasn't gone so deep and so far that I'd be willing to, risk my life. Not that this war is going on anywhere near that, but, you never know, man. I mean, I'm an American. I'm a white guy. It's like they're probably just going to be like, fucking get him, kill him, take his hair. They'll probably scalp me like the indigenous used to, right? I have no idea what they would do, honestly, but it's a little scary. But, on this point, I was thinking about this because this is kind of weird, right? Like, of all the places on planet Earth, like, why the hell is Turkey the place you go for a hair transplant? That just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't particularly like it. It annoys me. It's like, Turkey? What? I mean, this is America, goddammit. I should be able to do that here and get just as good a procedure done here and not have to travel to some fucking, as far as I'm concerned, a third world country. I have no idea. Do you have any idea what Turkey is or what it looks like or anything like that? I would imagine you don't, and you haven't. See, because I don't know if I'm just like the only guy or something, or maybe I'm just weird. But if you were to ask me like what I imagine Turkey is, just going off of like my limited knowledge of it, I'd probably say that it's somewhere like some sort of mix, some sort of weird thing in between like how I imagine Cairo, India, and Mexico to be. Like, that's just how my brain puts it all together. I imagine there's just insanely bad driving, like zero road rules. It's just reckless, lawless types of GTA driving. I would imagine there's just like dead bodies strewn in the street and tons of annoying people harassing you while you try to eat, trying to sell you shit you don't want and don't need, and like, oh, do you like this? And like, no, I don't like that. Get away from me, please. And oh, would you like to buy my cat? No, I don't want to buy your cat. Like, bye. Or I don't even know. Do they even deal with cats in Turkey? Maybe it's like cobras. I have no idea. Like, here, have a pet cobra. And one of those things, those little flutes that they have. Here, buy the set. You can have your own cobra taming starter kit. Like, that's how I think it would go. I have no idea, but I would just, that's what's in my head. and then, just like beautiful, luscious locks on all these weird people hanging around. And I just imagine there's just disagreeable, odd, misplaced and disturbing smells just lurking throughout the streets, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, oh, hey, that smells like some yummy street food. And then, like, is that like a dead pig and like Indian food and baby diapers? I have no idea. Maybe I'm just a terrible American racist, and that's okay. But that's just where my mind goes with it. That's how I imagine things are in Turkey. And then you've got this like incredible industry of just like well-produced transplants. That something about that just doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't set right with me. I don't like that. Now, in all seriousness, it's kind of interesting, right? It's a little scary being in another war again, and what's going to come of that, and what are we doing there, and what's the purpose and the point, and why now, and blah 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 blah, right? Hell, I'm gonna level with you guys. I like comedian Dave Smith. I like to think I'm relatively, clever guy, funny guy, entertaining guy. I'm going to ditch all that now. Again, just like Dave Smith, I'm going to ditch all that and just talk specifically about foreign policy. Because I, as are you, and as are many people, foreign policy experts, I have a vast knowledge of geopolitics and all the ins and outs and all the players, and I know everyone. And people text me about this stuff regularly. They're like, hey, have you heard about this geopolitical thing going on? I'm like, well, duh, who hasn't, right? I got Marco Rubio in my back pocket, and I got Trump in my front pocket, and I got Israel on the line, and all these people talk to me about what's going on. I got Xi Jinping calling me off the hook. I know everything, right? I know all the nuances and secret details that, I mean, as you would expect. Of course. Me, little old me, the podcaster on YouTube. I have all that information. So I'm going to give you my deep dive analysis. Of course, I'm being, facetious. I just want to say I really don't like Dave Smith. For a guy that claims to be a comedian, I've literally never seen him make a joke, and I'm sick of seeing his face. And he's smug and arrogant, and I guess he just reads a lot of articles and then, vomits that back and says, well, I said so, right? So it must be true. I don't know. He's like a lot of guys now, though, right? Everybody is kind of vomiting their recycled talking points and whatever, their views and all this kind of crap. And, let's be real, guys. So I have taken a step back from politics. I don't really like to look at a lot of it or listen to a lot of it or whatever, right? But we got into a war, and so I like to try and be somewhat responsible and say, okay, well, let me understand this. What's going on? What do I need to know, right? And so after a week of us being in this war and a week of me being away, I did a few things for the podcast, but not much, and been busy and whatnot. In my spare time, though, I have been ingesting as much as I can about the war. And I got to tell you, I did come to a conclusion. I have a conclusive idea of what the war is and what it's about. And I have a conclusive idea on who is right and who is wrong. And I'm going to give you my hot take now, right? And my hot take is nobody has any fucking idea what they're talking about. And nobody is clear on this, and nobody has any idea what's going on. And my position's the right position. You can listen to whoever you want, and you can take whoever's side you want, and you can pick whichever team. They really don't know, do they? I mean, let's be honest. Nobody actually knows anything that's going on. The thing I've noticed the most about the political discussion right now is that it's really very similar to like sports. It's all about just kind of filling time, and you know, they don't want any dead air, right? There's no everybody just wants to be right, but in the end they're all probably horribly wrong, and we'll never go back and like call them on it, right? We're not interested in doing anything like that. I think at this point we have to just kind of realize and wonder, where the discussion really is, what the discussion actually is about, right? A lot of it is just about getting clicks and being a grifter and whatever. And and I'm not some guy who's like, well, shut down speech or whatever, right? I'm not like that at all. I really don't care, right? They can spew whatever and all that. It's more incumbent upon us to be more discerning about who we're listening to and what we're listening to and what we're ingesting, how we're ingesting it, what the intent is, what the agenda is. And that's the thing, right? You can really kind of watch these people just enough. Really, you only need to watch them for like 10 minutes before you figure out what their agenda is. The thing that's really bothersome to me, though, in this whole discussion about the war is the amount of people that just want to be right, and the amount of people that, regardless of whatever happens, they just want us to fail. And it's like that doesn't jive with me. I don't understand that. Whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump or pro-war or against the war or whatever, right? Well, the truth of the matter is we're in it now, right? So I don't know why you'd want us to fail. Like, I don't get it. The glee in which some of these people are talking about, like, well, a lot of people are going to die, and, it's going to be blood on Trump's hands and blah, 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 right? Like, nobody is wanting a bunch of civilians to die. Nobody's wanting a bunch of servicemen to die. Like, why are you almost licking your lips at the idea of that happening just so you can come on, like, Piers Morgan show and be like, I fucking told you. It's like, that's wild to me, man. I don't know. Like, love the war, hate the war, take Trump, leave Trump, whatever. Like, I don't know. We're in it now. Like, we might as well root for us, right? I know that being very pro-country is like weird and creepy and crazy now, but I mean, I'm pro-America, so whether I disagree or agree with the war, and I really don't have an opinion on it, to be honest. To be perfectly frank, I have no idea. I assume that there's a reason this is all happening that I don't know, and that really smart people like Dave Smith don't know. And I hate that fucking guy. And all the other people, I know I'm just kind of fixated on Dave Smith. Like, I just see him everywhere. He's like infiltrated my Twitter feed, and oh my God, like if I see his dumb punchable face one more time, I might just fucking lose it. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's like you can't even listen to anything anymore, right? Like I've just kind of lost myself in like sports podcasts talking about the draft and shit like that, because I don't even want to get into all this, right? It's so infuriating. And again, it's incumbent upon us to just kind of like cipher through this and be like, okay, whatever. And so my Twitter feed is like bad Jews, bad Iranians, fuck the Ayatollah, Erica Kirk killed Charlie Kirk. It's just nonsense. It's just and then of course you get the Epstein stuff sprinkled in. It's like, oh my God, it's just infuriating. It's enough to drive a man up the wall. And it's like, okay, we're in this now, and I'm trying to stay away from all the negativity, and obviously war is kind of inherently negative, but can't we focus on some of the cool stuff, right? Like, I will say this, I regardless of what you think of the war, I didn't know that our military was like this badass. I had an idea that it was this badass. I had an idea it was this cool. And kind of seeing Trump come in and show how powerful our military is and how great our strength is pretty neat for me, as kind of a layman. And maybe that's kind of a childish take, but that does make me proud to be an American. Which I know, right? Don't say that. But I don't know. can't we all just kind of wonder at, sit there in the awesome wonder of like our strength of that? That's pretty neat, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I have someone in my family's in the military, and I gotta connect with him soon and kind of see what's going on if he's being called out or whatever. But and I kind of want to get his opinion. Am I being kind of a dummy? am I like a moth to the flame? Like, oh, look at the pretty lights. We. But I'm as an American, I think that's pretty cool that our military is this cool. Like, it's pretty badass. We do a lot of cool stuff lately with under the Trump presidency that, you just don't see anymore nowadays, right? I mean, I've heard stories about it. I have kind of a cartoonish comic booky vision of it from like World War II of how great our army and military was and things of that nature, but to like actually see it in my lifetime and see it kind of how it's evolved and how impressive the guys are and how impressive the technology is, and I don't know, maybe I'm a tool. But again, I just don't get why you want us to fail or anything like that. That seems deeply unpatriotic. Even the people who want us to win are, almost licking their lips at the wrong reason, and it's like, war is not something that you necessarily want. Like, you kind of want to avoid it if you can. Like, I don't know if you should be this excited that we're in a war. But again, whatever. That's a hot take, right? Super, super scary hot take. But, aside from my deep and unabiding knowledge of the thing of geopolitics and all that, it's like a river, a river of knowledge flowing from me about Iran, because I know exactly where that is, and I know everybody involved. I know everybody that died, right? Like, I got funerals to catch all week, but okay. So outside of the war, this podcast is known for tackling the big issues of the day, big meaty, news cycle topics, things that the people really care about. I gotta tell you though, this is a big issue. It runs deep for me, so deep, in fact, that I'd kind of like to start my own war against this, and it's driving me up the wall, really. I've been seeing this, right? Like, what exactly is the deal with young guys, 25 years or younger, walking around with all these fucking stars scattered around their face? And I've been looking at that. I've been seeing them everywhere for a long, long time, and they're like little multicolored stars just plastered to different areas of their face. And I finally stopped and asked somebody at work the other day. I said, what is that? Like, why is that young guy walking around with a fucking blue star on his face? And they said, oh, it's a pimple patch. And I said, what the fuck? What am I seeing here? What am I looking at? What are you, gay? Like, what are you doing like this with, like, I don't understand it, right? It's a baffling thing. Like, Jesus Christ, isn't it bad enough that we as a society already have to deal with Disney adults? But now we've got this. Like, what do you think leads into the Disney adults? It's young guys walking out who seem perfectly normal and fine and straight. And, but they're like dressing their face up like a Barbie doll with these little multicolored stars. I saw one the other day that was like glittered, and I'm like, what the hell? And I asked, so I looked around, right? I asked the person about like what it was anyway, and they said it's a pimple patch. And I said, okay, whatever. So then I look into it, right? And they make them skin toned and circular so that it's not like super noticeable, right? You can just walk around with it. I don't know what it does anyway, right? Nobody knows what exactly this is. Another example of Big Pharma taking advantage of the little man by selling them baby Band-Aids for their pimples, but whatever. But obviously, these ones were made for like 8-year-old little girls. But now I'm seeing like young guys, attractive guys, right? That should be able to, land a woman, but I'm assuming they're not because they look like, like rejects from a failed Jaguar commercial or something. Like, it's like, what are you doing? It makes them look kind of androgynous and strange and a little bit weak and peculiar. And I don't like this. And I guess my other question is like for the parents and more specifically, I guess really dads. Like, what the hell are you doing, dads? Like, why are you letting your kid walk out of the house with a bunch of multicolored stars plastered onto their face? Like, has it ever occurred to you to maybe smack them? Are we as a society allowed to smack children anymore and say, what are you doing, boy? Why are you going? I'll tell you this. If my kids start getting acne and they go, Dad, can you go buy us some of these fruity assorted colored star patches for our pimples? I will beat them. It's just no way around it. I will hit them. I don't know. If I was a dad of one of these kids, and we already know, right, as a society, young men right now are having a hard time attracting women and have very low self-esteem and stuff like this. Well, guess what, guys? You're letting your kid walk out like that, and then you wonder why they can't tell the difference between a mop and a pussy. Okay? I mean, you gotta step in here and you gotta figure this out because this is going too far. And maybe the reason I'm so kind of fixated on it right now is I've seen a lot, and over the weekend I saw a buttload of them, right? And at work we had this like Comic Con thing, and I get this isn't probably the greatest example, right? Because this is different, right? This is a different group of people that you're probably like, okay, I'd expect these kinds of guys to wear the starry pimple patches all over their faces, right? But I'm telling you, people, I've seen this out in the wild, all over the place, on a multitude of different guys. And even like these big guys like at the gym, like, they look like Hulk, and then like a few stars on their faces. What the fuck am I looking at? It's like The Rock in like a Disney movie or something. Like, oh, look at The Rock. He's so big and muscular. Ha, ha, ha. Isn't it funny? He's dressed like a girl. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not funny. And it's weird. And, so I see these out in the wild. But like, obviously, I guess this has just been ruminating with me now because over the weekend we had this Comic Con. I think it was called like Kokori Con or something. I don't remember. But I mean, just herds of weirdos and nerds came crashing in, and they all had the pimples. Of course, they all had the pimples. Because they're at a Comic Con. That's the kind of people you'd expect to be pimple-faced weirdos. But so I saw a ton of them there, right? And I mean, oh my God, should I even get into the Comic Con? I mean, the amount of people that we saw coming in, it's really discouraging. And people are going like, how did you get from the war to this? Again, it's that kind of weird dynamic of like, I'm really proud of our guys in the military and seeing all of them be super cool and awesome and whatnot. And then I'm here in reality in America where I get them all coming in looking like Star Fox and dressed like Pikachu and Team Rocket and whatever weird shit they watch. All the other weird anime crap that people would dress up as. And here's the other thing, right? For every one like hot, sexy girl in an anime outfit that you're like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Like Slave Leia, right? Like for every one of those that you might see and you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, awesome. Everyone else, stop. Like, You're not hot. You're not sexy. You're kind of fat, and you look a little bit mutated. Like, you look like a mutant. So, it's just like, you don't need to show too much skin, or like that's really tight in a super unflattering way. Like, you got to stop. Right. And then, I don't know, man. Oh, this one girl, this is a real story. This is true, right? She was dressed up like a Team Rocket member from Pokemon. And she came up with her like candy bars, of course. She's probably diabetic. She's got these big thick glasses on, just like the picture perfect nerd. And she goes, just because I'm dressed like Team Rocket doesn't mean I act like them in reality. I'll pay for my candy bars. And I was like, please, dear God, keep me out of your delusions. It's like, I'm not role playing with you, and so you don't need to have this dialogue with me, please. Like, please stop now. That was about the moment where I was like, okay, I need to go on break. Good Lord, talk about your heart just hurting for the West. You see this, and of course all these guys came in, and they all, some of them were painted like, women and stuff like that anyway, because apparently the whole theme of the con was transformation. That was the theme of the con, which was an obvious political statement. Okay, like, let's not fool ourselves here. Transformation. It's like, some of you guys need to transform. Some of you people need to transfer into like real men and real women. Go get jobs and leave your parents' house. I mean, this is a bad place for the West to be. And like, some of these people were like 40 and 50 years old, and it's like, holy crap, guys! Like, your parents need to smack you and kick you out or whatever. And I kept, because you can't be rude, because I'm in customer service. You can't be rude, but I kind of like was trying to gently push them to the aisle where the deodorant lies and stuff like that. Here, if you want to stop wearing, pimple patches, here's the face cleaner. Here, take that, and instead of buying a giant bag of Doritos, maybe you buy some, celery sticks. But I don't know, man. It was embarrassing. It made me sad. It made me mad, really. I got more worked up and upset about that than I did about the war starting in Iran. I was like, we gotta clean this shit up. And I know. Listen, there's people that are mad at the Trump administration and whatnot, right? Like, he started America first. Like, this is our problem. Like, I don't expect the president to fix this. Like, we used to just scorn these people and send them back to the gutters from whence they came. I mean, they're like little weird mole people that come out. They're way too comfortable now, right? Like the furries. I mean, how many people I saw with like tails coming out of their butts? Like, come on, we all know what's going on there. I don't need to be witness to that. Thank God my kids weren't there. I had to explain to them like where that thing was actually sitting, because these people are freaks. Like, I mean, I know it sounds awful. I'm being terribly judgmental, but you know what? Fuck you. That's just how it's got to be. You should be embarrassed and ashamed. And if you're a parent of one of these kids, you should definitely be embarrassed and ashamed. And I blame you. And it's our job and our duty to we got to pick on people again, right? Bullying was a real thing for a reason. It was useful. It just was. And again, kind of going back to the pimple patches and all the kids, like, if I ever would have worn a bunch of colored stars on my face, my brother and his friends would have made it their mission to make my life a living hell for 4 years of high school. Like, even after they graduated, they would have come into the school and just trash can me for no reason and thrown me into a locker. And God bless them. They should have. That's what you do to people who are acting like that. Anyway, so I listen, young men, I know. I'm not part of the manosphere. I'm really not. I'm not a part of the manosphere, right? I don't agree with many of those people. I think most of them are douchebags, right? And stupid, but I will give you a bit of advice, right? If you want to get a girlfriend and you want someone to look at you as a husband, you can't wear multicolored stars around your face, okay? And you certainly can't show up to like a Comic Con dressed as like, Team Rocket or Pikachu or Fire Emblem or whatever the hell. Like I'm having a hard time even struggling to figure out what like animes are, or One Piece. That's an anime, right? But like because those people, even though some of those guys do have girlfriends and stuff like that, like we all know they're cucks, and we all know that they're like in thruples and polyamorous relationships and deeply sad, hurt, wounded animals, and they're all kind of weasels, right? And the women in these relationships are super overly dominant and just kind of wear you as a puppet. So you don't want to be that guy, right? But you want to be able to stand up for yourself and walk around with pride. Do that. Walk around with pride. And don't put little stars all over your face. Just deal with your pimples. Take good care of your face. And if you have a really bad issue with it, go to the doctor. They'll give you some steroids or something to help you clear that up. And then even if you get some acne scarring, that can actually turn into quite a little, almost like a beauty mark. The older guys get, for the most part, they'll kind of warm into it. Maybe not when you're young, and I get it. When you're young, you're very vain, and you want everybody to look at you a certain way, but you got to get over that. Just deal with the pimples, okay? Just deal with the pimples. And if you really have to, I'll give you a little bit of wiggle room. Every now and then, you can wear like one little circle pimple patch that's your skin tone, right? Like, that's it. One. No more. No less. Just one. If you put a bunch on, we got to smack you. If you put star ones on, we're going to have to just like actually beat you up. Break your ribs or something. It's really disgraceful. And parents, my message to you is, do better. Like, we got to get people away from their parents, right? There's too much of a safety net right now with kids in general and stuff like that. And so be harsher to your kids and be a little meaner, and also give them positive encouragement when they're doing something well and something right and something not weird. Yeah. If your kid gets more worked up about like the new Star Wars versus, a world event or whatever, or the shape of their school or their community or whatever, like maybe sit them down and say, listen, let's reset our priorities, kids. I've had to do that with my kids. My kids will get like insanely crazy angry over a video game, and I go, okay, now calm down. Remember, there's people in Ethiopia that are dying, so you can't take this too seriously, right? Or like some babies are born without any arms and legs and look like rats, and so that's a worse thing. that's a terrible example. Anyway, I was thinking of that weird little kid on Instagram. I find him very fascinating and slightly disturbing. But anyway, anyway, that's my word to the wise, or my warning to the West, I should say. It's not a word to the wise. It's a warning to the West. If your sons are putting stars on their face, slap them. If they go to anime concerts or cons, Comic Cons or whatever they're fucking called, maybe this is why we need asylums. We need to bring back asylums. We can just put these people in an asylum. They can be weird furries together. And if we paint the walls a certain way, they'll think they're in like Oz or something. And what they won't even phase them. These people don't like the sun. They don't want to go outdoors. It won't even phase them. They'll be perfectly fine. Just paint. Don't do the little padded cells. Just paint it like a rainbow, and like put little cute Disney animals with big eyes like that on the wall. Just paint that, and they'll throw like candy at them every now and then, and they'll be fine. Anyway, so that's all I got for today. Thank you all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about the war. Tell me what you think about, Comic Cons. Tell me if your kids are wearing stars on their face and make you ashamed. Tell me if you think I'm a big asshole. I'm always down for that. Anyway, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and please share the channel around. And Yasik, thank you very much for commenting and being so into it. That's awesome. I appreciate you. Anyway, thanks again for listening. This is The Act.